Now you also might need to create a drop shadow for this object, and to do this, let's go to the ellipse layer and go to FX and say drop shadow. Now look at the light direction and set your shadow. Adjust the size and the softness of the shadow. And say OK. And now let's work on the background. And for background, I would like to create a group folder and name it as BG for background. Create a new layer within that, and I have selected this dark green shade for my background. Now let's create one more layer above this background layer and go to gradient tool. This is a gradient tool. If you keep it clicked over here, you can see there's a paint bucket tool and the gradient tool. So check the gradient tool, go to this option over here, and you see this is the gradient I created. What I have done is both the side I have the same BG color, the green one, dark green or the army green, and at one side, that is on my left hand side, I clicked on this icon over here and change the opacity to 0. Now that gives me a gradient from blank to the green color. Say OK, and from a little away from the center of the canvas, hold on shift key and drag the gradient tool all the way to the edge of the canvas, and you can see there's a hollow hole here and the green color. Now let's change the blending mode to multiply, and you see we got a nice soft hot spot or the warm spot over here and the dark surrounding. Now this is not the place I want this hole or this patch, so let's try to do once again from center of the canvas to the edge. And you can try that multiple times. So now this dragging is not working and I'm not getting the right position of the gradient, so say Ctrl A to select all and say delete, and let's create the gradient all over again. There we are. And now what we can do is go to the base layer and say Ctrl L and brighten it a little bit to get a brighter spot. Now let's create one more layer between this gradient layer and the BG color layer. And now go to marquee tool, select a small region in the center, go to filters, say render and say clouds, and you see the cloud will take the background and foreground color to generate the cloud. And now say Ctrl D to deselect and Ctrl T to transform, Shift and Alt on keyboard and drag this to fill the entire canvas. hit enter, and now change the blending mode of this layer to hard light. And now let's change the opacity a bit. So around 50% opacity, so it's giving some good dramatic movement in the background. Now let's take this hummingbird from this stock image file. So I have the path already drawn for this. So control and click on the path, go to the layer, go to the layers and say copy, control C, and now let's go to the project file and control and V to paste, control T to transform, and I have one more such hummingbird stock file, and then take it off from the background and place it over here. So let's name the layers as bird one and bird 2. And now you can go to this site hybrid-genesis.com/edgy-star-sparkles-brushes, and you can download the sparkle brush sets for free. And now create a new layer above this bird's layer and go to the brushes, and I've already loaded the brush set I mentioned, which is downloaded from the site. And now select some brush and let's create some sparkles around these birds. So you can try different brush sets, and I particularly liked the last one for these birds. And this is how my sparkles are created. And now this is one piece I have of a scanned fabric, and I would like to put this in the background. Control A to copy, Control A to select all, Control C to copy. Let's go to the project file and Control V to paste. And now let's fit this properly and stretch to the canvas size. And now change the blending mode to divide, and let's lower down the opacity to 10 or less than 10%. This is to add the feminine element to the entire scene, as the main character we have taken is a female face. And now rest of the small elements you can get from multiple images, or you can search the internet or scan from the old magazines or books. You will get plenty of these kind of elements in one scrap kit. Most of them are properly clipped PNG images, so you don't have to create any cutout or something like that. And now I also have, Let's create one more new layer and take the marquee tool with the elliptical shape. Create one ellipse shape at the bottom, and now give a feather of around 6 pixels and fill it with the white color, and that's right now it's white color set as the foreground color, so hold Alt and backspace key on the keyboard. And now since I need more feather or the soft edge for this object, go to blur, say Gaussian blur, and increase the blur radius. Lower down the opacity of this layer. Now this particular object is giving a feel of a distance from the ground or the feel of land over there. However, this entire artwork is based on imaginary work, and there's nothing called right or wrong in this. And I have placed these tiny elements all over from one of these scrap kits, and which you can go on the net and download some free scrap kits and add these kind of elements. Layer on the top and fill that layer with some warm color. So I have taken a family of green and yellow mixture. So I have taken this particular color and fill that layer with this foreground color. Alt backspace to fill the layer with the foreground color, and now change the blending mode to linear burn, and now set the opacity to something around 30 to 40, and let's check the before after result. Now this is giving kind of a dreamy effect. And now let's set the final layer, and that would be then an adjustment layer of levels where we can adjust the tonal contrast all over the image. And I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I'm sure that you're going to create something better than this. See you in the next lesson. Thank you.